Hi, Ray here. Today we're going to talk about the Freewell Standard Day 4-pack cage and holder for ND filters for the GoPro Hero8 Black. I bought the GoPro Hero8 Black and I made a video about that as a sort of companion to my Nikon mirrorless cameras, the Nikon Z6. And I bought it to use when I needed a lightweight alternative or a camera that I could get into tight spaces and so on and so forth. And so because I wanted to set it up as sort of a cinematic camera, fully manual, that would require the use of neutral density filters. So I looked around and settled on the Freewell option. And so, well, let's take a look at it. So here we have the Freewell Standard 4-day pack, which includes ND filters and the cage. I had looked into other options, including the Polar Pro ND filter system, which comes highly recommended, but in the end I decided to go with the Freewell. Let's have a look. I noticed there's a little dent in the corner of the box here. Here's the GoPro 8, just like on the box. Anyway, let's open it up and take a look. And they've given us a handy little zipper here to open it up, in theory. Oh, geez. This is... it just doesn't seem to be working too well. No. Go to heck with it. Time for the power drive hand. Oh, they've given us another one. So, here's the filter case. Oh, and it helpfully says open. Okay. Whoa, nice. Let's see if this zipper works. Nope. I think it's the same. And here's the cage. Oh, that looks very nice. I'm really impressed with how that looks. Nice machining. Just gorgeous. Yep. Really like that. Little sliding door on the back here for access. Slides right out, and in goes the GoPro Hero8 Black. Slide that little door back in again. Oh, incidentally, yeah, there's like a little rubber gasket seal thing on the back there. Should snug it up. Beautiful. The filter pushes on nicely, seems nice and tight. Yep, that's not going to come off there. That's very secure. That's the polarizer, and it comes with 3 ND filters, the ND4 and then the ND8. There it is, ND8, and finally the ND16. That's as far as it goes. Now the Polar Pro filters, they also came with an ND32. So I'll be interested to see if ND16 is gonna deal with the brightest conditions. Starting with the Hero8, the lens on the GoPro is no longer replaceable. That called for a new design for filters, and I think the polarizer will stay in place as a protective filter. Now this mount on the cage is awesome. That is really tough. Doesn't flex like the doohickeys on the camera itself. So, of course, it'll fit all the accessories, like the little handle that came with my Hero8 bundle. Should work just fine. The battery and SD card remains accessible, and of course the buttons. And what I really like is these cold shoe mounts. So we got one on the top, one on the side, and there's another one somewhere here. Yep, we got one on the bottom. It's beautiful. I just noticed that the dent in the box corresponds to a dent in the corner of the filter box. So looks like everything's okay on the inside. That was shipping from Amazon, I guess. Filters look okay. I don't think it's worthwhile sending it back. Deer poop. So I should add that I bought the Freewell kit with my own money, ordered it off Amazon just after Christmas, after I got my GoPro Hero8 and I was looking for ND filters. So no one is influencing my review here. These are my honest impressions after using the Freewell cage and ND filters for about a month. Well, here we are shooting at 24 frames a second, 1/48th shutter speed, ISO 100, and as you can see, this is not going to work. We need some neutral density added here. So let's add the polarizer, and I can predict with certainty that that's not going to be enough light reduction. And how about the ND4? I think I can also predict that that's not going to get us where we need to be. And ND8, what do you think about that? I don't know. I think we're going to need to go up to the ND16. And here's the ND16. I think that's going to be pushing it as well in this very bright sunlight with the sun right up there. So what's to be done when this Freewell day pack only comes with an ND4, 8, and 16? And certainly we're going to be needing something more like an ND32 in very bright conditions. So I did contact Freewell at their home base in Hong Kong, and I asked them via email, and I received a reply just a day or so ago that indeed they were planning on producing an ND32 for the GoPro Hero8 Black. However, there's a little bit of a problem with production right now due to the coronavirus epidemic. I think we can call it an epidemic. And incidentally, I think that the inconvenience that videographers are feeling right now because they don't have an ND32 or 64 filter is minor compared to the problems that are being dealt with in China and other places where the coronavirus is wreaking havoc. So I think we can wait. In the meantime, what should I do? Well, I'm thinking that possibly I can DIY and maybe gaffer tape a couple of these filters together, say the ND4 and the ND8, which will give us our 5 stops of light reduction. And so I might try that out. And so here we are with the ND4 and the ND8 gaffer taped together for a total reduction of 5 stops. That would be equal to an ND32 in direct sunlight. And it works, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. It's a bit of a bollocks. Actually, with this cloud cover right now, I think this would be perfect exposure for the ND16. But you might be wondering, so what do you do when you have changeable conditions? Well, I guess the answer is you keep changing your ND filters, but I'd rather deal with that inconvenience and make my own decisions rather than, say, use auto ISO, which is also a possibility, but then you're going to get those noticeable changes. And so yeah, I'd rather do it manually. Just for comparison, I'm switching to the ND8 just to see if that might be better. We'll see how the shadows look. Certainly the highlights would be overexposed right now, but using the sun behind the cloud as a point source, sort of my key light, let's see how that exposure looks with the ND8. Certainly I'd think of these as more ideal conditions for filming, like a nice big soft box up there. In fact, the clouds are really, now the sun has gone behind quite a dark cloud, and I rather like those conditions. They're my ideal conditions for still photography or video. Love those nice big natural soft boxes created by cloud cover. To wrap up my little review of this Freewell 4 filter day kit, I think they call it, I think it's brilliant. The holder or case or frame or whatever you want to call it is excellent. The machining is just beautiful, and I think the filters for what they are is really great. As we've ascertained, I think it lacks an ND32, maybe even a 64 would be needed in really bright, completely brilliant days. But hopefully they'll get that ND32 and possibly a 64 to us before too long, and then I think it will be a really complete kit.